My name is Jonathan, also known as Dai Womprad Dai, and you have found Binging the Force with the Rocky Mountain Fan Force. So this is a place where Star Wars friends get together and rewatch Star Wars shows and digress doing it. So you can find us on Facebook at Rocky Mountain Fan Force, and you can find this show on a multitude of podcast platforms and on YouTube at Binging the Force. Just look at the crawl along the bottom down there. You can also find our new merchandise store at bingingtheforce.myspreadshop.com. So go on that site, buy a onesie for your cuddly little baby Yoda at home. So tonight I am proudly joined by Michael, Dale,
Hey,
Kim, Lily, and possibly a surprise guest later. We shall see what happens.
Returning guest Lily, and Kim has actually been in the group longer than I have, which is shocking.
Kim, do you want to introduce yourself?
My screen name's Sith Chick. I tagged along to a meeting one time with Jeff, my husband, Darth Hare, and then I became the leader for a few years. And then I think I handed it off to you, Jonathan, and it's still going strong all these years later.
Strong's a relative term, but we are definitely still going, which is good. Right? Yes, there you go. Strong in spirit. Cool. Well, Kim, we're glad that you joined us for this little party here. So.
Glad to be here, nerds.
Right? You know you missed this stuff. But yeah, you're really involved with the 501st and Rebel Legion as well, right?
Yes.
Cool. How did the St. Patrick's Day parade go?
Swimmingly. It went great.
Awesome. Very nice. Yeah. It's a wonderful event that brings all the Star Wars groups together, to do the parade, and it's just so cool to have something like that for a community. I know that there's other Star Wars fans in other cities that are jealous that we have something like that here in Denver. So
we can't forget our X-Wing.
Right? Yeah, plug. We haven't really talked about the X-Wing, so if you have a chance, go out to the Wings Over the Rockies Museum, see the 3/4 size, life-size X-Wing, and just be amazed. It was actually used. It was made after the, if I remember correctly, the Star Wars special editions, right?
Promotional, like for the re-release or something like that.
There were several of them made. I know there was a couple of them made to be used at events.
10 of them or something like that, and then they all got destroyed because they were just left outside and stuff. There's like one supposedly in Texas they're trying to sell on eBay one time. And then this one, that's the Lucasfilm one.
Yeah, and this one ended up, they brought it out to Denver for the first
Celebration.
Star Wars Celebration. Yeah, for Star Wars Celebration. And they just literally left. They just forgot about it. They brought it out for Star Wars Celebration and just never took it back.
Like I thought you had it. Yeah.
Until one day they did want it back. And then Tim, who was in the lightsaber video that I watched, he basically got a hold of Lucasfilm and said, what do we have to do to keep it here in Denver? So that's how the maintenance crew came along and the X-Wing project.
Yeah, formed an agreement with them to say that it stays at the Wings of the Rockies Museum. It gets maintained and repaired so that it's available, so that whenever Lucasfilm wants to use it to bring out to events, which they have done periodically, it'll disappear and it'll go to I think one year it was like the year that they gave George Lucas some award, and it was like some TV thing, and it was like they're hanging in the auditorium or something like that, and then it comes back to the Wings Over Rockies, all broken and battered from having traveled, and then they repair it and then have it ready for the next time. Yeah, it's pretty cool to have as a thing that we have here in Denver.
It is pretty awesome.
And the 2009 parade video that I put up on YouTube last week is now our most watched video. So if half the people who watched that YouTube video would watch one of our episodes, we'd be doing pretty good.
Well, that's
it'll happen.
That is our charge here tonight. So we will do our best to make tonight a good one. Speaking of which, we are watching The Mandalorian Season 1, Chapter 8. Title of this episode, the season finale, is Redemption. So before we get started with that, though, I have a question for our panel. So it seems like throughout this season, especially here in this final episode, Mando seems to have found a crew that is willing to risk themselves for him. His posse, his entourage, his ride or die, right? So if you were faced, each of you, with a life or death situation, so who are two people, one from Star Wars, one from real life, that you'd want in your ride or die crew when the going down? Who do you have to have with you? Whatever that situation may be. Maybe you're in a bar and it's being, fired upon by stormtroopers. So they're starting to break out the flamethrower. Who do you want at your side? Two people.
I'll go first, and I guess because I'll take it before anyone else can. So I'll say, the Mandalorian, as of yet in the first season, unnamed. I believe he gets named in this episode. As a matter of fact, we finally find out his name. So I will go with him as my fictional.
I was gonna say Mandalorian.
Yeah, I knew someone else was gonna say it, so I had to say it first.
2 votes for Renda. Nice.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know about
anybody
saying
from real life.
I don't know about saying who in real life, because that could. I don't know. I'm gonna go with my daughter because she's on the screen there in the upper left corner.
That's nice. She's not gonna pick you. I'm sorry.
Probably not.
No kidding.
She's got two other parents to choose from.
I've also got a single friend, so probably gonna pick my one friend.
Excellent. Good choice. Good choice.
I guess I'll go next then. I would pick, I guess I'm choosing Grogu now. And my best friend, Melanie.
Nice. Awesome. Do you think Melanie has some good skills that'd be able to help you out? Can she wield a machete or anything?
Her skills are sarcasm.
Nice. That bites deep sometimes. Yeah,
yep.
That'd come in handy. Yeah.
That can win a bar fight.
It could start one.
Oh, snap. Nice.
Hey, if you've ever seen them, I know you haven't, Lily, but for anyone else, if you've seen the movie Good Will Hunting, sarcasm can win a bar fight.
Nice.
All right.
You like apples?
How about these apples?
Dale, you go.
I'm going to go with Luke. No one ever defeated Luke except himself, so no one ever got the high ground on him or took him out any other way. So I'll go with Luke. And then rather than say my wife, I'm going to go with my dog, Zoe, just because I think it'd be a funny situation. And I could tell my wife about it, but it wouldn't necessarily work the other way if my wife was in that situation to tell the dog about it. So I'll bring the dog along for this adventure with Luke Skywalker. So
sounds like you guys would have some good adventures together.
Yeah.
Especially if Luke has treats. Dog
if Luke has treats, then the three of you are unbeatable.
Yeah.
So I have to say Jeff, of course. It's my real guy. And then
he's got some mad skills.
I was thinking R2D2 is I need a droid. I need someone, electronical, because I am not that. I mean, he has jets. Come on, he can do everything.
And Jeff can definitely build stuff.
Yeah. Get you through those locked doors. Whatever locked door it is, he can open it. Yeah.
Jeff is who you want at that 45-minute mark of every A-Team episode when they're building something.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. Now it's a Binging the Force episode. We mentioned A-Team. It's good. Nice. Yeah. For me, mine was also Luke. I think that I sometimes he's pretty whiny though, but I think he would be, he would be able to get you out of scrapes if there is supposedly a plan and it starts to go wrong. Maybe he can still get you out of it, like in Return of the Jedi, because I have no idea what the plan was to get Han out of Jabba's palace, but somehow, some miracle, they managed to all escape out of their lives. So that's pretty handy. And then in real life, obviously my wife, she's brilliant, she's smart, and she's much more creative than I am. But if I was not allowed to pick her, I would probably also pick Jeff. I think that, yeah. He's mechanically inclined. He's super smart. He's got the tools. We have the talents. So, yes, he could build whatever needs building to get us out of there.
I was thinking you were going to say with your wife, it's like, she's brilliant, she's smart, and she's probably going to watch this.
No, she doesn't watch any of these. She hears me way too often.
Jonathan over here stealing everyone else's ideas.
Pretty much.
Jeff and Luke Skywalker.
It's what the best people do. They steal other people's ideas and they take credit for themselves. So I had the best idea, obviously.
You're really good at that too.
This is true.
And you called Luke Skywalker whiny? Talk about R2D2.
Awesome. Well, let's see how much whininess happens in this episode, Michael. Should we go ahead and watch it?
Sounds good. Go ahead and get that rolling.
Season finale. Recap the whole season.
Yeah, previously on 7 episodes in 1 minute, right?
Yeah.
I mean, basically, you got to set up everything, all the characters who are in this, right? Which is everybody,
or everyone that could come back for the last one.
Reestablish Paz Vizsla. I don't think we know that that's him. I think they literally call him like heavy infantry or something.
Yeah, that's what the subtitles call him. Heavy infantry.
Yeah.
Heavy infantry.
Yeah, heavy infantry. We find out, I believe, in this episode that he's Paz Vizsla. Yeah, but the gathering of his forces, the gathering of his team, his Magnificent Seven.
True, but I mean, so like it's been a while since I've seen Magnificent Seven. Is like the second half of that movie basically this episode?
Well, but it's always, I mean, the story is always like they gather and then some of them start to get killed along the way. You always lose some in the huge final battle. Yeah, they all gather and then there's the huge battle and you always lose some.
Some are more magnificent than others.
Yeah. Quill! We lost Quill!
The crispy bacon.
Oh.
Watching this episode, like before right now, it was really slightly confusing for me because I haven't seen the season in over a year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, like watching like the 3rd or 4th episode and then skipping to the last episode.
You're like, I think I missed something. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's so good though. You can just pick it right up. I mean, this first season was just excellent. Every
biker scouts who have captured Grogu. We saw
dang biker scouts.
And still have terrible shots.
They got Khalil.
Yeah, somehow they did get killed.
That's true.
Grogu's perspective with a flapping bag over him.
Yeah, these are some pretty good shots of these speeder bikes. I mean, because like in Return of the Jedi, when we last really saw them, I mean, it was like slightly less believable because you got
who hits a baby?
He hit the baby.
This one's good. Good close-up shots, good action shots.
He hit the baby.
I'm surprised that didn't get like a little warning ahead of time.
Right.
Yeah, I would call this the Kevin Smith dialogue. I mean, basically two biker scouts, just like two average Joes who like have this job and like what they would chatter about. This job sucks. I don't want to deal with this baby. This thing keeps making noise. The Moff. He treats everyone. We don't want to like really interrupt him because he kills people.
Yeah. This is definitely the biggest break from the story for pure comedy that we ever get in Star Wars.
Yeah, definitely our biggest comedy one. Like I said, it's the Death Star contractors conversation from Clerks, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because like you don't usually get this. It's a terrible shot.
They literally illustrate something that everyone's always talked about, but they really go for the joke and actually say, we're going to actually illustrate the fact that they cannot hit anything.
Right. Yeah, kind
they're
of.
practicing and they can't even. And blame the gun, shake the gun. It's got to be the gun.
Yeah, kind of breaking the fourth wall there, but no, it's good.
You can't even see through those helmets.
Well, ask Kim. She's worn them.
So the trooper on the left is Adam Pally, again from last week, and then joined by Ted Lasso himself there, Jason Sudeikis.
Yep.
Though they both take a turn at punching the child. So
he just killed an officer for interrupting him.
It sounds like a terrible work environment.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I mean, they literally are the solution to the Moff's problem. You know, that's exactly who the Moff wants to hear from. They've got the child there in the bag, and he's not finding out about it because they're afraid to tell him, because they're afraid that if they interrupt him, he kills troopers when they interrupt him. And it's like, no, you really do want to break in with this information. This is information he really is going to want.
It's giving these guys a lot of dialogue, and it's like really, making you wait until the action of the episode happens, right? I mean, is it good as far as like, giving you that making you wait for it and building up that suspense to get there, or is it just too much?
This is opposite of how most episodes or the movies start.
Yeah.
Where there's a big buildup of something is gonna happen. And this is like they're just shooting the crap by the water.
Right. Yeah, all this conversation, and then the droid comes up, and we haven't had any action.
Any missed shot, shoot him.
The best droid.
Yeah.
Dale's not the one on screen because he's definitely not a nurse droid.
Yep, and then of course, baby rescued by Taika Waititi, who directed this episode.
Maybe I should have chosen IG-11 as my ride or die.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I
was going to, but he did kind of get killed a couple of times. So.
Wow.
Like
how many times do you have to kill him?
Yeah, he gets killed a couple times, keeps coming back.
Yeah, in the premiere episode, the action scene with IG-11 was awesome, but now it's just over the top. Like how great it is when he comes storming into camp. Even just that one there, just picking up those troopers and slamming them.
So over the top in a good way.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure it's like it is over the top in a good way. And now they're just trying to figure out how are we going to get out of this. There's literally no way to get out of this. It's a no-win scenario here.
And you also kind of, speaking of Taika Waititi, it kind of reminds me of like his style, right? So if you think about like the Thor movies in the MCU, he does humor with his action. So you've already get that at the beginning here, right? I mean, maybe he wanted to make sure there was some humor in this kind of heavy, serious episode.
Well, and that was established in the MCU by Jon Favreau with Iron Man. I mean, with him having directed Iron Man, he's the one who probably, pretty much fought for that in the beginning of having the humor in there.
Yeah.
That's what makes the action matter to you. I mean, the action doesn't matter to you if the characters aren't humanized, and you humanize through humor.
Yeah.
Do you feel like Mandalorian's been humanized throughout all these episodes?
I think he has his moments. There's the moments of levity with all the stuff with Grogu. Grogu, the child humanizes him.
Yeah, totally. It's his character arc.
E-Web. I
love the E-Web coming back from Empire. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna let you, Dale, Kim, you guys are more expert on this kind of stuff. Talk about an E-Web.
It's a big gun. The Empire had one on Hoth. Han took it on with the Falcon, but the Falcon is that's a pretty good defense and also has a pretty powerful weapon system. If you're just standing there, I think they're trying to drill it into our heads that you're outgunned with just an E-Web.
No, even them talking and they're like E-Web, they're like, we're done.
Yeah, basically as soon as they hear it's an E-Web, he actually just and then the intimidation that Gideon gives, where he tells them exactly who they are, that he knows every single thing about them.
Yeah.
She's like, you've seen this gun, you've seen the predecessor of this gun take out your people as they were dropping onto planets, and and now we have a name. Our main character 8 episodes in at the end of the season has a name, Din Djarin.
He's getting in their heads, man. Psychological warfare from Moff Gideon.
Yeah, he knows all their business, but there is a ton of exposition here too. Like he's really filling in the viewer of what
Disgraced magistrate Grief Karga.
Well, he's really laying down what a big he is.
Yeah.
I thought it was like also the bad guy monologuing as well, right? You just should have just shot him up. What are you waiting for?
Right.
Yeah. Why even give him the night? I mean, he has to think they have the baby, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason he's even doing this is because he thinks they have the baby. If the call from the 2 biker scouts would actually get through to him, he probably wouldn't even bother killing them. He'd probably just turn around and just leave.
If he had call waiting,
Or they even texted him.
Yeah.
If he hadn't cultivated this whole, sense of intimidation and fear in all the stormtroopers, and if those biker scouts call would actually get through to him, we wouldn't even be having this scene.
Yeah. Thankfully, Mando figured out there is a sewer, so there is some kind of escape plan because Grief didn't even know. I don't know where he's been going to the restroom at, but he didn't know there was a sewer under the bar.
It's the secret Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's where the armorer was. That's where he went down before. I mean, he should know. Maybe you can't get to it from this bar.
Yeah. But you
now,
think...
Rebel shock troopers. I mean, they've mentioned it a couple times. It seems to be this known quantity, from the rebels. I don't remember ever hearing about that. Is that canon somewhere prior to this series? A rebel shock trooper is like these big, tough, basically seems like Marines. It's essentially rebel Marines who you would drop into places and would kick butt.
I'm not sure if I've ever heard them being called a rebel, but a shock trooper I've heard of.
Okay.
And those were all, I always thought they were the Imperial side.
Oh, now we get our huge flashback here. We had glimmers of this previously, and now we actually get the fuller story of his backstory here.
We did watch the Clone Wars episodes.
Yeah, we watched the Clone Wars episode where he talking about we found out what planet this is later.
Right. It's not Mandalore like you assume it to be with him being a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
They do
Concordia.
finally put in the line that
Concordia,
Mandalore is a creed. So this is actually Concordia that we're seeing under attack.
See, but you see them under attack by these, super battle droids, right? Which is cool.
Yeah.
But there's no clone troopers. It doesn't seem like there's a battle between those two forces. Looks like they're just here to execute whoever these people are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably because they're under the Imperial now. Has Order 66 happened yet?
I think so. Didn't they shut down all the droids in Order 66?
Right. That's a good point. That if this is post Order 66, then it's kind of funny where it happened on the timeline.
Yeah.
But if it's supposed to be the Empire, then it has to be post Order 66.
Yeah, it could be just somebody activated these droids and are using them, right?
Someone else bought those droids, unless somehow through a fire sale that the Empire had some other organization that we're not even knowing at this point.
Clearance store somewhere.
Yard sale. Get your deadly droids.
Well, Jawa's had a clearance sale.
Yeah, which is possible. Bad Batch season 2 shows that the droids can be reprogrammed post being shut down.
Now, some of this becomes relevant starting next week with the Clone Wars episodes that we're going to be doing next week. So a little teaser for that is Concordia, and then who actually rescues him here.
I figured it out.
Oh, please be Bugs Bunny dressed like a woman. Oh, no.
What is that stuff down there? Is that a bunch of cocaine? What's he down there in that?
Oh, put the kid down there. He'll
It's
be
installation.
fine.
They're installers. Installation and installers.
I thought it was spice. Yeah.
I'm confused.
Spice.
References to other other things. But yeah, so the symbol on his shoulder there, we noticed this when we rewatched because we watched the episodes we're going to be watching next week, and he's actually being rescued here by Death
Can
Watch.
I say it?
By what? Who?
Death Watch.
By Death Watch. Ah.
Stay tuned for next week.
if you're watching this with the episode and you've got the episode audio, when those doors open, there's a really cool guitar riff when he's busting there to save Din.
The soundtrack is amazing on these shows.
Did Eddie Van Halen play it?
I don't know.
Yeah, and he was saved by a Mandalorian with a jetpack.
Foundling.
Heads up for 20 minutes from now.
That's you, Lily. Foundling. All right, flashback over. We're losing time to get in the sewers. Find those Ninja Turtles.
Do you think his family's outfits were supposed to be like the Wookiee robes in the holiday special, or is that just me?
I don't know. They use a lot of the same colors throughout all the shows, like the mustards and the browns and the
mustards?
Red. Mustard colors, yeah.
And ketchup colored robes from Life Day. Yeah.
Me realizing how much of the mustard color we have on the show here.
Whee!
Grief had the right idea. He's like, well, if I'm going to go down, I might as well drink the top shelf here.
Oh, he was, drinking till he had enough courage, I guess.
That's liquid courage he's drinking there.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, buttheads.
Just awesome. No one can hit him.
Yeah, right at him. He's not even covering up the baby. He's just like, you're not going to hit us.
Most badass nurse droid ever.
Yeah.
So bad.
He watched the original trilogy before this. He knows what to expect.
Bad egg.
John was like, man, you shot my customers.
Yeah, totally.
It kind of looked like they were about to beat up the Jawa.
I don't know.
So
Yeah,
that's what I saw.
I think the Jawa was like, wait a second, they haven't paid me yet.
Well, now he can just take the money off their dead bodies.
Yeah.
But he
They
does
probably
actually,
were going to pay him anyways.
he does twirl around here. When all the enemies are in front of him, he does twirl around.
Yeah, he does the Linda Blair.
Right.
You don't move, and now he's like, wearing the baby as a backpack.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Mandalorian toys. IG-11, speeder bike, and yeah, a little backpack Grogu.
And just mowing down the troopers here.
Yeah, he's a one-man wrecking crew.
Oh, yeah.
Droid wrecking crew. Yep. Although Mando's having a hard time with these death troopers, right? So it's not all easy.
Yeah.
They are more elite, I would assume.
Maybe their armor's made out of better stuff than the stormtroopers.
So are these all 501st still that are like doing these stunts as well?
I think so.
No, it was never all 501st. It was they supplemented the stunt people and the actors with additional bodies, basically 501st. So I don't think they were actually having them act or anything.
If you didn't notice, Din just took the E-Web cannon and is now using it as
As a hand cannon. Yep.
Grief joins the fight. Kara uses her big gun.
She's got a big one too.
I like her hair.
She's in the most trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know if her hair is going to save her.
And Gideon is so cocky in this scene, just unbelievable. Like, who walks
In
through
all
a
the
gunfight
scenes.
like that? No protection at all. Yeah, he could definitely get shot here.
That's
Oh
why
yeah,
he
but
was
let's shoot him in the back
Somehow
because
go
I'm not
through
an
all
In the
the
head.
armor.
Oh, shoot.
Well, see, he fights smart. He fights much smarter than the stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Well, and he
That's why
noticed he
he's
hit it on the
off.
first shot.
Maybe he didn't start off as a stormtrooper.
Yeah, that's why he's a Moff. Although how tough can he be if he's not a Grand Moff?
Yeah.
Well, he said he was supposed to be dead, so maybe he just was almost killed before he was able to move up the ranks that far.
Right. And we don't really know what the organization for the remaining parts of the Empire are right now. If everyone just kept their same role, or you can kind of rename your position or promote yourself. If your boss was on Death Star 2, then you just got a promotion. So
Are you saying he named himself Moff?
we don't know.
Well, I mean, he has the Moff vehicle, he has the insignia, he has the uniform. So I mean, he got it from somewhere.
They have a uniform?
And a cape. He might be a high Moff.
Yeah, maybe not grand.
Hi,
Maybe
Mom.
mediocre.
You think he might have been higher up than Tarkin?
Well, Tarkin's been out of the picture for a little while.
True.
So I'm sure Tarkin's been replaced.
9 years, yeah. Tarkin's been dead for 9 years. So
If you think about Grand Moff, it sounds like Grandma.
It's Grandma
Absolutely
Tarkin.
it does.
Grandma Tarkin.
Yeah, we'll let Gideon just get as far as Great Moff, not Grand Moff. No farther.
If you ever meet George Lucas, please tell him that.
Oh, and then we got this guy, and this guy tries the fire, and he's actually way more effective at using the flamethrower than the Mandalorian seems to be.
I think he's the flame trooper, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Inferno Trooper or Incinerator
Inferno.
Trooper. They have a cool look to them, but I'm not a huge fan of flamethrowers in Star Wars because if you think about it, that is a pretty sadistic weapon to burn someone alive. Star Wars is about lasers and quick deaths.
Yeah,
but all the Mandalorians use them.
Right.
And not a lot of blood, yeah.
But now let's see, what can the baby do?
Random ear.
Who can save them? It's
no.
the baby.
Nobody. The end.
Okay, baby.
Could they not bring the E-Web back inside?
Okay, so he's doing the hand thing.
Do the hand thing. Focus. So, but this flame trooper, right? I mean, he's got to have pretty good flame retardant armor if he's a flame trooper.
I don't know. It looks like the same stuff the stormtroopers are wearing.
Right back at him.
Tried to do that so much, Grogu fell off his feet. If he has any.
So did Gideon change his orders there? So now they're not trying to capture the child? They're fine with cooking him?
Well, he said burn them out.
Yeah.
So,
but he's in there.
Yeah, but maybe the flame trooper wasn't exactly following orders like he should have.
Yeah.
He's dead. He's dead either way.
So yeah, it looks like they're both dead right now.
Yeah. If he fails, then he has to go outside, and then Gideon kills him.
So the child has to take a nap after he does his
I know. I love
thing.
that.
It's like,
I don't care what you smell.
And I'm spent.
So this is really weird that, well, I guess he's a nanny, so he's going to take care of him, but
Right.
it seems like Din just kind of gave up. Like, oh, I'm hurt. I can't go on. I'm done.
Go without me.
Well, he thinks, Lemon's going to kill him because he still doesn't trust droids even after all this.
Yeah.
Especially
now
like
you can self-destruct.
Even when he said that was the only droid he trusted.
Right.
I need to remove your helmet.
No.
If the
Try
plot
it and I'll
demands
kill
it.
you.
Yeah.
Never lets go of his blaster. He had that ready.
It is forbidden.
No one has seen me without my helmet.
No living thing has seen me.
Aha.
It's like I'm not
Plot
living.
point.
Loophole.
Right. The droid is big into semantics here.
So 8 episodes in, we see our main character. And he
This
has
is
a name.
actually the very first time I saw him.
Yeah, you'd never seen Pedro Pascal in anything?
No. But I saw him in tons of stuff after this.
Sure.
Right. There's been a lot of good stuff since then.
Well, yeah, for you probably remember him. He was the bad guy in Wonder Woman 84.
We don't talk about Wonder Woman 84.
There is no Wonder Woman 84.
Nope. There's only... What year was it? I'm gonna guess Wonder Woman 1920?
Yeah, I think at this point in the show, it makes sense. You haven't shown your main character without his helmet off. It seems mandatory that you have to do that at this point. I mean, they've done a good job. They've really been unusual in that way by not showing the face of your hero underneath the mask and or helmet. But I think you get to the season finale, like find a way to do it. It's important to show that to your audience.
We're 6 hours into this thing. Let's come on, give us that.
Humanize this guy a little more.
Actually, make him have to show up on set
with the helmet on.
Because for all we know, it was totally stuntmen in the armor until now.
They burned the stunt double.
They're still around.
I can stand.
Yeah, I can stand all of a sudden.
Yeah, that back to works quick
Like
because
follow me. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. He's at 100% health now for the rest of the episode.
He's 80%. It's rising as time goes. He's like loading up 82.
Yeah, he's picking up little chicken drumsticks, little icons along the way as he's walking along. You just don't see him.
Hearts.
Yeah, little hearts.
I want to say something so bad, but I can't. Okay.
Yeah, this is a sad moment. No more funny.
That's a lot of helmets.
Yeah, are there a bunch of naked Mandos somewhere left behind all that armor?
No, I think they're dead.
Yeah.
Because they
If
can't
weren't,
take them
then
off.
Yeah, I'm like, if they weren't, then they would be breaking the creed.
So people are telling you like whose helmet these all are and stuff.
And
No.
we're just assuming that the armorer went around and gathered all the armor and helmets and put it in a pile.
Right. That makes sense.
I mean, I guess she would probably be burning the bodies, maybe burning them in the armor so that they never took the helmets off or something. I don't know.
True. So you think instead of just putting in the pile, then she, like, because here we see her come and gather parts of the armor to go turn back into Beskar. But don't you think she would have done that in the first place instead of gathering it all in one place away from her mold, like her boiling pot or whatever?
I think we're going to go with it being a production designer choice there.
Okay.
It's very dramatic.
But I like her office mail cart to gathering up armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess what we're being told here is there was some kind of skirmish between the Empire and the Mandos because they weren't natural enemies of that bounty hunters guild. The bounty hunters were only interested in retrieving Grogu back in that third episode. They don't have a beef with the Mandalorians now.
Right. No one's paying them to come after them.
Right.
He left and he's like, you're going to have to find a new home. And they're like, yeah, this is the way. And then he leaves and then they fight his battle. And it looks like some of them might have died.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot, apparently, with that much armor.
And she's like, show me who caused all this trouble. Like, well, what did they all die for? I at least want to see this thing.
Show me your enemy.
Mm-hmm. He saved me too. We saved each other from the Mudhorn.
Armor's like, he's so cute. I understand.
It looks hopeless.
Coos. I never knew Coos was spelled like that ever.
Mm-hmm.
Never thought I could spell it.
It's weird to me that she chooses to stay here to forge, whatever with the armor pieces. Like, why not take all that armor with you?
Right.
In your new forge where it's probably a lot less hostile environment.
It's one woman, Dell, and she has to take her freaking
It is a foundling
smelting pot.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, if she melts it all down, it's probably a lot easier to transport too.
And you know what? She is not afraid of these Imperials. Even though they come and they defeat a lot of Mandalorians, like, she's still proud. She's like, I can take them on.
I have hammer. Smashes helmets.
It's a weird hierarchy, though, that she was just left there alone. Like, if there's anyone left, you'd think somebody could stand guard.
Yeah. It's weird that she's there by herself.
Yeah, it is.
But I guess we're saying everyone else died or left.
Well, we know Paz Vizsla survived, so
She made it sound like several left.
yeah, a bunch of them left already. She stayed behind on purpose.
Though the way we see her with the rest of the Mandalorians, it seems like she's basically in charge. So the fact that they left without her to find a new world, how would they contact each other? How would she build a new area to make armor or whatever?
That is a fantastic tease for season 2. Very nice.
So the armorer just told Den that he's Grogu's father.
Yeah.
I am your father.
They're a clan. They're a family now. Like, that's the thing. I mean, we know that the helmets, the coloration on the helmets and the symbols on the helmets show clan, and he never had a clan, basically. Now he gets a clan. He's now the clan Bloodhorn, basically.
Yeah, she started making stuff with the Mudhorn signet on it, and was hoping he would come back so she could use it. So.
She already had the stencil.
Yeah,
So I went through all this work, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just happened to have made a Mudhorn mold just to put that on his shoulder.
Yeah.
I don't do the baby thing. She's like, ew.
Yeah, and I remember watching, when I first watched the series and I first watched this season, it never occurred to me until that moment that, why didn't he have a jetpack?
Jetpack.
And I guess he didn't get it until he had earned it, or until he didn't get it until the plot demanded it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The end of that third episode, he was like, "Oh, someday I'll get that."
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, I want one of those."
Yeah.
More will come. You must go.
And she's like, "I don't care if they're coming. You guys go."
Yeah, there's a lot of exposition connection that had to be made here and kind of completed in the storyline really quickly while they're waiting for the Imperials to show up at the most convenient time.
Yeah, I guess that's why they didn't need the other Mandos, because they didn't have any useful dialogue. But Emily Swallows is here for useful dialogue.
I think that's the role.
And some cool action.
This is the way.
Right.
The fact that the Imperials never actually catch up with them. We never see the Imperials that are following them. Well, actually, we do.
So long just because there weren't that
right
many
there.
left over after getting blasted.
I have hammer. You must fear me.
She is not worried at all. She's like, they're the ones who should be worried.
How dare you touch me?
Poke her in the head.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Does anyone else think of the end of V for Vendetta when V takes on all those guys with guns and he's like, "No, what you have are guns."
Yeah. Don't bring a blaster to a hammer fight.
Hammer time.
Or start running at her holding your blaster, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you fire it? Not that it's going to do anything to the armorer who makes
Okay, yeah.
armor.
They're not sweating or anything, and they're in a lava river. It's got to be a little warm.
Yeah.
Star Wars physical properties. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Imagine how much Mandalorian sweat.
I mean, we saw it when he took his helmet off. He looked pretty grody under there.
Yeah.
Well, he just got flamethrowed a couple times and blasted in the head. So yeah, bad day.
Blasted by a power cell.
Did you notice the stormtrooper helmet shattering in the last scene like it was ceramic?
That's
Yeah.
the best
Yeah.
part. And I mentioned that earlier when I was
With her hammer. I mean.
Hammer.
Yeah. Oh, Beskar hammer. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Nice job shooting that, Cara Dune. Where were you with the sewer vent earlier? You would have saved a lot of time. Jeez.
An astromech.
It's R2.
With legs.
Yeah, an astromech with legs and arms.
It looks like a big R2KT. It looks like kind of pinkish right here.
It looks a little strange with those big arms and legs. Well, I mean, this is obviously, this molten lava river obviously goes to Mustafar, right? Isn't that the only place this thing
Right.
goes?
I guess.
We've got to input your destination with this droid. I don't know that there's a lot of options. It seems like it's upstream and downstream, but
Right? I would like to go to Coruscant. Thank you.
I feel like he should be singing opera music, pushing that thing along.
It would be Italian. It'd be like a gondola.
Yes, but through beeps and boops.
Mamma mia.
Okay, so
See, there's the light at the end of the tunnel.
Dope.
Uh-oh. That don't look good.
Well, he's smart.
There's
He's
people
good
with
things to check.
terrible aim.
Stop the boat.
Not like you can stop a boat on lava.
Talking to you. I'll just blow your head off.
he
That'll solve the problem.
Yeah,
wasn't
like
listening, so we're not worried about him listening now.
I think that would have possibly been your only option to stop it.
Yeah.
So
But-
you're just doomed now. Except for IG-11, who died for like the 1500th time.
Spoiler for the next 2 minutes.
Yeah,
At this point, if anyone's watching this, they're getting spoilers if they haven't already watched it. But then again, it's been out for like 2-3 years.
the same thing happened with my GPS today. It totally froze up, so I just blasted it. That was the way.
What, you're
to go.
Magellan?
Yeah.
you're
So that fixed the
Flaming
problem. I
thrower.
No, it was an iPhone actually. I was trying to toggle between that and a podcast, but same idea. But that's the Star Wars version.
This is a good moment. It's the moment in the story where, a character is deciding to sacrifice. They're arguing against it a little bit, but then you realize that this is what has to be done.
It's the who's gonna go down with a ship.
Right.
Right.
In this case, it's a droid with a lot of personality, maybe too much personality, which is kind of
Bunch
strange.
nanny feelings.
Nanny
Real
droid.
programmed all that, I'm sure.
Well, sometimes he's got more feelings than Mando.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely, he does.
I mean, Mando is a Mando.
But this show is called The Mandalorian, not The Nurse Droid.
Oh, if only. I would love to have a show.
That's why
IG.
he couldn't survive, because
I want an
then
all
he
IG
would've-
show.
Yeah,
IG-88, IG-11.
Yeah, demanded a spin-off if he had survived. Very, very Terminator 2 here.
Yeah.
Right. Thumbs up.
So he's gonna take one for the team. He's gonna
Yeah.
self-destruct. Finally.
Did he download his memory into some other?
No.
He
droid
finally
there?
achieves his purpose. He's been trying to
No.
self-destruct so many times.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't do it finally.
But how did, I forgot what his name is, but one
I
of the
cannot
guys
be
is there.
captured.
How did he find most of IG-11's parts?
Oh,
In a
Quill.
lava river.
Oh, no, that's the future. We don't talk future.
Jonathan said we couldn't.
That's right. Not yet. La 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 la.
Almost.
This is only really my
My
the
family
fourth
likes to
episode of this I've watched.
point out a plot hole here, that why couldn't he just retrieve the bomb and throw it? But I think he wasn't leaving anything up to chance as far as getting taken out and the explosion not going off.
Yeah. Oh no.
Not
Here
getting
comes.
So this is that same TIE fighter, right? With the wings that went like this.
Straight.
Yeah.
The regular
Jonathan.
TIE pilots, they're curved.
Well, like in last episode, right? Like when he landed, his wings went. Meow.
Oh, maybe they. Oh, flat. Yeah. Some of the
Yeah.
ships are cool.
Yeah, it's a cool shit.
Cool.
Hi.
What?
Do the hand thing. Do the
Do the
hand
hand
thing.
thing.
The magic hand thing is saying hi.
He's all high.
Wait.
He does
I
that
was screwed.
so often, and it's like the cutest thing.
It's jetpack time.
Okay, I didn't take any lessons. I didn't train with it. I didn't do anything. I'm gonna now be Luke Skywalker with it, and it's gonna work perfectly.
Just
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
The armorer even said you won't be able to use it until you understand how to use it.
Yeah.
Apparently, we've done that in 10 minutes.
Magic Pixie Mandalorian.
Mhm.
Oh, that's gotta hurt.
I mean, like the G forces to this. Hello.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, if this was real, he would not be able to hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moff Gideon's the first person we see pilot a tie without wearing a helmet. So he's
That too. Yeah. He's
not
like, you don't
concerned
want
about
to cover this pretty face.
right. The hair. I don't want to get helmet hair. Come on.
Why doesn't Moff Gideon just like rotate upside down like multiple
Ugh.
times? So the Mandalorian just either gets stuck around the wing or gets flown up.
There's probably
I
not
don't know.
training for that. Like, here's what to do in case someone ever jumps on your ship.
Don't
no
you have
helmet.
like an well, don't you have like I forgot what it's called, ejector seat? Like go like,
I don't think TIE fighters are equipped with that.
which
even
means they're
fancy
always
mock
destined to
ones.
crash.
Well, for stormtroopers, yeah, they're probably considered expendable. So, but you would think for a Moff flying one around, it would have an ejector seat.
Right. Maybe it's not part of it. If they're meant for space dogfights, you can't eject into space.
Unless you got the helmet on, then it's all good. Or your
But he
Princess
didn't.
Leia. General Leia.
Especially the X-Wing helmets. They're really airtight. Everyone tries to get him to
helmet.
stay.
You pay for Giancarlo, you want Giancarlo.
Like,
Well,
stay.
all the bad guys are dead. Let's wrap this thing up, right?
It's Miller time.
Yay, the heroes won. Of course.
Car's ready for a beer.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, maybe we can work together.
Daddy.
Baby Yoda's ready for a beer.
Grief's like, okay, there's no one left to challenge me. I kind of run this planet now, and you know, I kind of need a sheriff.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of good writing here that like sets up future storylines.
Like a lot
We
of
don't
them, yeah.
talk about future.
So
But he has his clan of two.
right.
He's been told by the armorer, you need to get that baby to its people.
What's with everybody touching Grogu's ears? Like,
Even
Just
IG-11
big
did.
and cute.
Well, Grief doing it, I don't think he would really like Grief doing it.
He's like,
Daddy, touch my ear.
I know how to use a jetpack now.
He's reading the manual while they were in the lava boat. You just didn't see it.
Yeah.
Deleted scene. He watched.
They were on that
YouTube.
lava boat for like an
Reading
hour.
the manual.
Oh, I have
Commander.
spoken.
Oh, Nick Nolte speaks no more.
I love that character.
Yeah. Ugnaught has spoken for the last time.
I was kind of sad when they didn't give him the little ball that's on the lever. Because that's my favorite part of Grogu. Is him just
Is
playing with
the
that little
silver
ball.
It's cute.
He's going to eat it one day. He's going to have a
It's
hard
like
time.
frogs.
He's going to have a hard time with that.
Yeah. He's gonna have to
Chewing on this.
pass it with the Force.
Oh, I thought I was going to do the Heimlich maneuver. Get that
Got the
ball.
little Mandalorian symbol there.
See? Keeps putting things in his mouth.
Ooh.
The mythosaur, right?
Wow. Yeah.
Why don't you keep it?
Why
Since
don't you hang on to that until season 2?
we're a clan now, so you're technically a foundling.
Like me. I usually don't like calling myself a child, but I'm doing it for this episode.
Where they watch him fly off into the sunset.
Goodbye.
I usually don't call myself a nanny droid for my son, but maybe I should for this episode.
Well, if the armorer gives you the lowdown on all the rules, then and then closes it off by saying, "This is the way," then
So
you
they're
have to.
on it. The Jawas are on it like flies on right there.
Right?
The Jawas were like right there, man.
Right there.
Like,
All right.
on a carcass.
Uh-oh. Why is it?
And the thing that I did not get, but everyone else who's a Star Wars fan clearly did, because I found out the next day on the internet.
Aha.
What?
The dark saber.
Yeah, when everyone else in the world was talking about it online, and I was like, I have no idea what that was.
Oh,
Well, if you had watched the Star Wars Rebels TV
Yeah,
show,
there was just 10 seasons of Clone Wars and Rebels to watch
Michael
before
gets
this. Michael,
one
come
nerd
on.
point deducted.
that's a
Oh,
cool shot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Looked
That's what I
awesome in
used
live
as
action.
yeah.
Thumbnail.
That's the thumbnail for our episode here.
course.
Excellent. That's
Like
a
what
good
TV.
tease for the bad guy
Oh, I
still
love all the
lives.
artwork too at the end of every
Come back
show.
for season 2.
The music is
Yeah.
so good too.
I love the soundtrack.
Speaking of the music, this episode was nominated for 4 Emmys, and it won an Emmy for music.
Cool.
Or
Cool.
music composition. So that's the one I won. It did not win for picture editing or Giancarlo as a guest actor or for Taika Waititi's voiceover performance, but it did win for music.
Crazy.
Rightly deserved. But 4 nominations for one episode is pretty sweet too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because usually Star Wars has been kind of shut out in those kinds of awards.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, especially to all this concept art, like a lot of it is very close to what actually you get to see in the episode too.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think the drawings of the people's faces seems to be really closer to what the actors look like. So like compare the concept art to like the first couple episodes. They're like, well, we're not exactly sure, maybe, yeah, but now it's like, well, we know who all the actors and actresses are for these roles. So have them look
Katie
cool.
Sackhoff talked about that, where she actually went into a boardroom and there were pictures of like drawings of all the actors, and she'd already done the voice for Bo-Katan. She knows who Bo-Katan is, right? And so they asked her if she wanted to do live action Bo-Katan, and she was like, they're like, yeah, that's why you're here. And don't you, they pointed at the picture, and she's like, oh, I like didn't really, I saw it, but didn't.
That is very cool.
Awesome.
So
Well, we have arrived at the end of season 1. Any sort of reflections on our binging of the first season of The Mandalorian?
So we do actually have someone watching live on Facebook, and we do have some comments and some questions.
Oh, excellent.
One is from right towards the end of the episode when the child had the little Mandalorian pendant
Necklace?
in the ship there, and so I think some people here might know this person who's watching us live. Asking choking hazard.
Yes, the Mythosaur necklace is indeed a choking hazard. But we've established several times throughout our rewatch here that the Mandalorian is not the best father figure.
Correct.
Right? He
But
does
it's on
not
a string
maltreat
around his neck.
Yeah.
Right.
As long as you can't get it off the string.
And he ate like 12 baby frogs already.
Yeah. Jonathan, you were right. She is watching.
I'm the one who said she was going to be watching.
Oh,
You were
right.
wrong. You said she
Thanks
wouldn't
for
be watching. And then she also commented earlier in the episode when we found out that he's Din Djarin, and he was kind of talking about that he's not a Mandalorian, he's a Foundling. And then she was asking at that point, is the term Foundling a part of the Mando Code, or was it part of the Mando Code? Any thoughts on that?
Excellent question.
Yeah, that's the
Maybe.
first we've heard it. But Bo-Katan uses it in season 2, and then it's again further on in the series. So I think it's a common thing for their little sect, that they're not necessarily from Mandalore, but it's a part of their creed. When they bring people in, those are foundlings. They're not born to someone from Mandalore. It's people that have been baptized basically into their little party.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a term that they used in Clone Wars or anytime during Rebels, right? It doesn't sound familiar. I think it started to be used in this show.
Right, it seems to be specific to his covert.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because when we see groups like Death Watch on Clone Wars, they're a much more hostile group. It's not something like, oh, these guys are humanitarians. They're taking in all these prisoners or all these victims of war. That's not what they were about at all.
Which is a nice teaser for next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't get the impression they'd want like kids to be joining their sect, their group, right? That is not their intention at all to be having kids be joining.
I'm like, I don't want to be covered by the RMF logo.
Yeah. As far as reflections on the season as a whole goes, I mean, what a way to kick off Star Wars on your new streaming platform for Disney. You know, the original ideas of having a Boba Fett film, I don't think it would have had near the impact that this series did, or even the impact that like a Rogue One did. I still think, as far as like Star Wars films that are not a part of the Skywalker saga, I'm thinking they're going to have a hard time beating what Rogue One did with a Boba Fett story or not. So it was really smart of them to take maybe some of those man with no name, bounty hunter kind of ideas and roll them into this series. Even though it's not Boba Fett, it's a whole new Mandalorian. I think it was a great idea, and I think they executed it wonderfully. Very, very entertaining, you know, for this character we'd never, you know, no one knew anything about. He didn't even get a name until, you know, 6 hours into the thing, and we finally see his face. What a great way to kick off a new way to see Star Wars, I guess.
Yeah, I agree, because I think that the way that we consume Star Wars has changed because of The Mandalorian, right? Like now you get these 45, 50-minute chunks of Star Wars. You get these serialized storytelling where you just have to wait a week between episodes, and you get 8 of them. And you know, and it's you're encouraged, of course, to sign up for Disney's new service and watch the show. But like when you have this continuously new content related to Star Wars, where you can, and it's water cooler talk, right? And you're talking with people on the internet about the most recent episode. It's something that Star Wars Net didn't really have in a way that was really consumed by the mass culture. So like, yeah, you did have the Clone Wars and you had Rebels and shows before that, but not anything, I think, on this scale of, you know, like in my work, like I had somebody in another department who was like, yeah, I was kind of interested in Star Wars, but have you seen the latest episode of Mandalorian? You know, like that's what the conversation was on Thursday morning or whatever. What's that?
Mandalorian is still Star Wars. I know people like they have the movies or one thing.
Yeah.
And then the other thing. But no, I'm just like, I'll take any Star Wars. People like complain about it, or the, you know, this actor or that person, or this one has an accent, or whatever the deal is. And I'm like, I don't care. It's Star Wars. I'm back when we used to have to wait 3 years till we get the next movie. And then there was just those 3 movies. That was it. That there was no more Star Wars after that. Star Wars was over. It was done. It was the best thing in the whole freaking world. And it's gone. It's done. Then you got a book. Then you got Thrawn, you know. Then you're like, oh my God. So then we had a magazine. And then the internet came out. And then we figure out that, you know, like boards. We met you nerds. And it's still Star Wars. It's like, shut up, people. Star Wars.
I think through The Mandalorian, like it's a way to share Star Wars with somebody who's not a Star Wars fan, who didn't, you know, still stay loyal throughout those dark times that we call them, right?
It's definitely Western style.
Yeah.
It has a grounded Star Wars feeling.
Yeah, and like a grounded style of storytelling as well that I think everybody could latch onto, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Even if for the casual viewer that isn't, you know, a lifelong fan of the Skywalker story, well, you don't have to know any of that. Like, you know what a baby is? You like babies? Okay. You get this show. You can watch this show now.
You like Muppets? Oh my
Yeah.
God, we got the best one.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
me, The Mandalorian has been was most of my original Star Wars knowledge. I had watched the last 3 movies, but I was too young to really remember it too much. And so The Mandalorian really set up Star Wars for me.
So you didn't watch any of the animated series?
No,
Yeah, and you know what? Oh, go ahead.
sorry. Me and my dad, we haven't really watched much of the animated series either. At all.
You know, I think Lucasfilm does a good job, because one thing I've heard, Star Wars talked about is like what's like your entry ramp to Star Wars, right? So for people like myself, I'm of the age where the original trilogy was my Star Wars ramp. For others, it was the prequels. For others, it was the sequels. And I think that Mandalorian is as another, if you haven't been in Star Wars yet because of age or interest, Mandalorian is another good entry ramp if you're interested in this Star Wars thing, because you don't have to have the baggage of everything that had come before in order to watch this show and enjoy it. You can if you want to, but like you were saying, Dale, it's not a part of all the Skywalker saga storyline if you don't want it to be. You just watch this by itself.
Sure. And the little bit we see of the Force, Yoda using the Force, but it's an unknown thing for Din. When the armor is explaining it, oh yeah, there are these wizards that we used to fight against, and he's like, I don't want to go fight some wizards, but that's kind of the next chapter of the story that everyone's going to get to see together. But you're not bogged down in what does it mean to have the Force, or what's happening with the Empire.
Midichlorians.
Yeah. It's very easy to see. There's this guy that was trying to do his job, and now there's a kid involved, and he's trying to do the best thing for this kid. And now there's some other bad guys being introduced as the series goes on. So very easy jumping off point. So if you want to take in more Star Wars, you can, but it's a very self-contained story. There's nothing else from this time period that's been used before, that necessarily has to weigh on or weigh in on this story. This can be the catalyst for all of your Star Wars entertainment is this series here.
So that with you kind of on point there, Dale, we're running a little late. Why don't you go ahead and queue up for us? I know we're going to shift gears now that we're done with the first season of Mandalorian. Where are we heading starting next week?
All right, we're going to take a little break from Mando, from the live action. We're going to hit up some animation that ties directly into this series and some of the themes we're seeing as far as the Darksaber. We haven't seen Bo-Katan yet, but Darksaber, Mandalorian culture. We're going to go into Clone Wars season 1. Shoot, I've got it written down here somewhere. Sorry. Clone Wars season 2, episodes 12 and 13 next week. The Mandalore plot and Voyage of Temptation. So that's where we're heading. Jonathan, what'd you think? Some final thoughts on Mando chapter 8?
Sure. You know what? I really loved this episode. I thought it was fantastic. 10 out of 10. I think the internet agrees with that assessment. And it did a really good job of wrapping up some of the existing storyline plot threads that they had created in the previous 7 episodes, but also laid the groundwork for a season 2. So couldn't ask for a better episode, and couldn't ask for better Star Wars at a time where we didn't realize we needed it pre-pandemic.
Very cool.
Kim, did you have any final thoughts you want to share as well?
Good, thank you.
Cool. Lily, Michael?
I'm not going to give a complex answer because I'm still Foundling.
Awesome.
Very good.
Excellent. Well, with that, we'll just go ahead and wrap it up. So like Dale said, if you're interested in sticking with us, we hope that you do. So join us next week here on Binging the Force. We'll take a bit of a detour into those Clone Wars episodes Dale was talking about. We'll dive a little deeper into Mandalorian and Mandalore culture. So, and if you're interested in learning more about the Rocky Mountain Fan Force, check out our Facebook page. Rocky Mountain Fan Force on the old FB. We're going to have a meeting in April, and we'll have more information about that when it's available on that Facebook page. So hope that you will join us there. But in the meantime, thank you for tuning in. This is the way.
And
This
buy
is the
that
way.
merch.
Brave spoken.
Bye.
This is the way.